how we match up against the Chargers, 3 trends I noticed for the Falcons winning, and this former Falcon great who was snubbed on a Hall of Fame nomination. Hop into the bird bath, bitch. What's going on? CMO, the C Mitchell checking in with another bird bath. But first and foremost, I want to talk about a select group of Falcon fans. We could have had UGA's defense, snarf. Jalen Carter. But Jalen Carter only has 3.5 sacks. Well, that's because they double team him. Matthew Judon gets double teamed, and we don't got players that beat they one-on-ones to make sacks. Well, you know, we could also had Jared Verse 4.5 sacks. Look at me, man. Nolan Smith is not coming through that door because Bijan buried his ass in Philly, man. People like to talk about how much Philly's defensive line gets after quarterbacks, but last year, their defense was cheeks. Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell had just as much to do with how much Philly's defense has improved. All I'm saying to you guys is that this draft thing is not an exact science. We actually did draft heavy with defensive linemen the last few drafts. We drafted Braylon Trice. I believe that he's going to be a really good pass rusher, but he got hurt. Not like we didn't put attention to things. We even tried to make sure we upgraded our pass rush with Matthew Judon. That didn't pan out as well either. The way I see it, in the next couple of years, we're going to have a stud quarterback who's dynamic, who can extend plays, a stud running back who's dynamic and has you guessing what you're going to do, wide receivers that are going to be a problem for defenses to match up, and you're going to have to pick your poison. Right now, we have a wealth of riches with skilled position players, and we're pretty hard to beat if we just go ahead and run the ball. I think that we will be able to find a Jalen Carter, find us a Jared Verse. Most teams are going with a platoon approach, and I believe that going into the draft this offseason, we're probably going to go heavily with defensive line or maybe somebody else in the secondary. So let's get into it and talk about how we match up with the Chargers. Coached by Jim Harbaugh. The Chargers are very similar to what you would get with the Broncos, except Chargers, in my opinion, have a little bit better offense and actually a better quarterback. Their defense ain't quite as good. They're pretty good up front as far as getting to the quarterback, but they're not great at stopping the run, and their secondary ain't nearly as stout as with the Broncos. I definitely feel like we could test their defense throwing on them, but in my opinion, we need to run the ball. As far as offensively, they can definitely give us some trouble with Justin Herbert out there. He extends plays pretty well. He can definitely hit a lot of the passes you want, and he's coached up pretty well by Jim Harbaugh. It's kind of the same story we've had all year. We're going to have to make sure that we maintain our pass rushing lanes. I feel like it would serve us a lot better if we would rush 5 or more a little bit more often. Our defensive linemen aren't so great that they could squeeze in 2 gaps, shed blocks and get after the quarterback at the same time. Justin Herbert is actually the 10th most sacked quarterback in the league this year. So they showed that if you blitz them, you could definitely get to them. Like I said before, maybe try to run a little bit more zone blitzing. We actually were doing pretty good with our cornerbacks blitzing off the edge as well, too, in some of our nickel packages. As far as their running backs, again, I feel like they have a little bit better players than what you had with the Broncos. This year, J.K. Dobbins is actually taking on a larger load than he ever took on in Baltimore. He's actually looking pretty good. J.K. Dobbins has now been ruled out with a knee sprain. I definitely feel like they're going to test us with the running backs out of the backfield and try to put stress on our linebackers and see what we're going to be able to do. If I was teams, that's what I'd do. That's been one of our main key weaknesses this year. And speaking of UGA players, Ladd McConkey, man, boy, been balling out there this year. We're going to have to make sure that he definitely scheme up against him. But we played some pretty good receivers this year as well, so we just got to make sure that we go out there and stay disciplined. When it comes to Jim Harbaugh, I kind of feel like the biggest thing about his brand of football is he's all about physicality. He didn't have the most talented roster. He's very committed to the running game. And that's why I think it's going to be important that we run the ball this week to keep our defense fresh and keep our guys off the field, because that's definitely what he's going to try to do to keep our potent offense off. Number one key to success for us winning, I've said it before, I've said it time and time again, run the damn ball. Running the ball and playing good defense translates deep into December and January and February in the playoffs. Good running games travel well. We haven't lost a game yet where we ran the ball more than we passed, or where we ran the ball at least a minimum of 49% of the time. And that seems to be our sweet spot. In fact, Raheem was saying that he plans to do a lot more play action this week. And in order to do more play action, you got to run the ball more, because it's not going to be believable if you're not actually running the ball. You don't need to have Kirk out there dropping back 40 times. I'm fine with Kirk passing the ball only 25 times. He's a high elite passer, but we don't need to rest our laurels on being able to throw the ball. Look at the game of Baltimore versus the Chargers. They ran the ball 37 times, and they only passed it 22 times with a better quarterback in Lamar Jackson than we have. And of those 37 carries, they gave Derrick Henry 24 of them. Hello, Atlanta. He's better when he gets 20 carries. Let this man get into a rhythm. Running the ball is all about attitude. It's something that you got to be committed to. It doesn't matter if on your first 10 carries, you only get 20 yards, or you only get 30 yards. You got to keep the constant threat. If I'm out there and I got somebody like Bijan Robinson, I'm always wondering in the back of my mind, at any given time, you can always break one. Because in the open field, you can't tackle him. We've seen him make 4 or 5 defenders miss literally in the backfield and go ahead and score a touchdown. They don't make guys like that. Just lean on the run game. Don't get too cute. The pass will come off of that. Don't run away from the run, because if we sit back and we let these guys just keep coming at our quarterback, it's going to be a long day for Kirk Cousins. They don't have the guys that can just cover us man for man, one-on-one. Baltimore was able to actually get downfield on them, but I feel like we've actually got better skilled players just overall in general. Baltimore can rely on their quarterback. We don't need to rely on our quarterback. Trust in Bijan. Feed him the rock. One of the second main trends I've noticed is on the Chargers side, and that's that they're not a really good second half team. If you look at most of the games they've played this year, especially in their losses, they haven't done well in the second half and they haven't scored a lot more points. But that leads me to our third point, which is that we have been typically a great second half team with making adjustments with our defense, not letting them get a lot of big plays and not letting them score on us in the second half. And that's something we got to use to our advantage and capitalize on this week. We got to make sure that we go out there and we play good second half football, make the proper adjustments, we remain patient, and then we keep running the ball to keep our defense fresh this week. I don't feel like on paper they're 100% better and more talented than us. They definitely have a better defense than we have, but I think we could definitely move the ball on them. They're not world beaters out there on defense. And on offense, they're pretty solid again, but we could definitely go out there and get after them. The 2025 NFL Hall of Fame semifinalist list was just released, and there's some pretty good names on that list. And Jared Allen, Antonio Gates, Rodney Harrison, Torrey Holt, Luke Kuechly, Terrell Suggs, Fred Taylor, Reggie Wayne, Vince Wilfork. All names that I definitely feel are deserving of a Hall of Fame slot, especially Fred Taylor. He's been snubbed a couple of times. One name on that list I don't see that I feel is a little bit of a snub is former Falcon great John Abraham. 15 years in the league, 133 sacks, 10 seasons of 9.5 sacks or better. 8 of those seasons with double-digit sacks. That's pretty amazing. And honestly, John Abraham might be the best free agent that Atlanta ever signed, to be real. He gave you 7 seasons here in Atlanta, and all of those seasons, he didn't cheat you not one bit. One of those guys that definitely passed the eye test. He didn't do a lot of Pro Bowls or a whole lot of All-Pros, although he did have a few nominations while he was here in Atlanta. I feel like he's a guy that should be on the Atlanta Mount Rushmore. You guys let me know what you think. He's top 18 in sacks, and he's not far off from a lot of the guys that's really close to him. Jared Allen, again, is another one of those guys. Terrell Suggs, DeMarcus Ware, Strahan, he's close to all those guys. I think when it's all said and done, when we look at his career and we look at the tape, John Abraham is one of those guys that was just a beast. He was a problem, and he gave us everything that he had in Atlanta. And we haven't had a good pass rusher since him, at least not a consistent one. That's our show for today. If you love what you're watching, what we're doing over here at Point Game Official, hit that like or subscribe button on whatever platform you're on. It definitely helps out the algorithm. Small thing to you, but huge for us, and I greatly appreciate it. I'm going to definitely be trying to get you guys some giveaways later on, too. Point Game Official, C Motor, C Mitchell, checking out for the bird bat, baby. Peace.